guys, welcome back to Astrea's Broken Heart, and on this one I'm doing my Skeptic Cassiel play save file. So that's what we're doing today here, because I was replaying because I pretty much gave everyone a save file for all the characters that we have so far because I keep on finding little things that I like, and I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I'll just romance everybody. So it's been a lot of clicking, a lot of replay, along with still replaying Heaven's Secret. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with that, and so I'm ready to start on that. But yeah, and also sorry I've been a little MIA this week because I am still sick. Very sick. Everything's running. Eyes are running, nose is running. I'm absolute mess. But anyway, we're fine. Okay, so we're just gonna go. It says, what do you believe? Okay, so last time we got the phone call and mom suddenly popped up on the phone, or whoever is pretending to be my mother. As a child, Melody absorbed, among other things, a belief in the immortality of the soul. Her mother often said that if her daughter believed in it sincerely and zealously, she would never be alone. More often than not, these words were frightening. They made Melody think about the inevitability of death, but in a way, they also brought comfort. She knew that she would never be alone, no matter what happened. Poison in plastic cups and stray bullets became the best teachers there ever were within the walls of that small church. They spelled it out. Death was just death and nothing else. But still, in giving up her faith, Melody felt deep in her heart that her freedom came at the cost of robbing her mother of the chance of resurrection. Interesting. I was afraid I would never hear her voice again. So why am I so scared now? Her mother's voice echoed incessantly in her mind like a broken record. Her tear-filled eyes now seemed to flicker in every shadow. Every breeze carried the gentle touch of her mother's hand. But what they evoked was no longer a quiet peace, but a chilling horror. As much as Melody longed to have her mother back, she would now give anything in the world to regain her solitude. I don't need her shadow. I have to pull myself together, figure out what's happening to me. I'm thinking about the supernatural too much. I'm starting to see it when there's nothing there. I wanted to hear Mom so badly, and so I did. The reassuring thought brought her no comfort. I talked to people who would consult the unseen dead before answering my questions. They really heard all those voices, didn't they? So why can't I? The explanation fit perfectly into her already familiar worldview. Having found a compromise, Melody hurried back to her logical, safe life. But she was immediately confronted with a new problem. So I'm experiencing psychosis then? It's best not to think about it. The drive home was a blur. Right after the call, Mikhail told them to pack. Stunned, Melody couldn't even say a word. She got the impression that everyone knew what had happened, but no one wanted to talk about it. Good thing I'm not alone right now. As Felonia made tea, Melody found that she couldn't escape Mikhail's attentive gaze. It's like he's trying to read my mind. Maybe he can, to a certain extent. If you want, I can stay with you tonight. She's being very sympathetic, even though I haven't said a word to them. Is it written all over my face? Melody shook her head and took the cup. She tried to warm her icy hand so that Mikhail wouldn't see her shiver. I'm fine, Fel. There's no need for that. You're very pale. What frightened you? There's no way in hell I'm saying it out loud. She felt that if she voiced her thoughts, they would immediately become real. They spill out of her mouth like dirty water, disparaging her and making her sound like she'd lost her mind. I'd rather be smothered by these thoughts than admit to something I'm not sure about. Interesting. Why did we leave so abruptly? It's definitely not because of my pallor. Undaunted by her sudden question, Mikhail replied bluntly, I found the answers to my questions. Did you find a trace? This time, Mikhail didn't answer right away. He's assessing my condition again. But there was a tenderness in the cold blue of his eyes. And if Melody knew him any better, she would see in them a very unusual emotion for him. Anxiety. Anxiety for the sanity of such a fragile but brave young woman. No, I didn't. Oh. I need new tissue. Here's someone who's certainly not afraid to sound a little unhinged. Are you going to them now? Trying not to add any unnecessary mystery, Mikhail made sure to elaborate on his answer. Yes. I have to share my findings with my superiors, Melody, and I won't be here for a while. Why don't they visit us themselves and share some news with us? There's probably no news. Sighing tiredly, Felonia walked over to Melody and held out a business card with a phone number on it. Call me anytime. Even if you just want to vent or chat, okay? There wasn't a single decent reason to call, but for some reason, Melody suddenly wanted to find one. Or I could call for no reason at all. I mean, what's wrong with that? Thank you. After Felonia went on her way, Melody left too. She took her teacup and said goodbye to Mikhail, who was apparently going to report to management instead of taking a nap. Without undressing, Melody collapsed onto her bed and stared up at the ceiling. The shadows cast by the trees in the garden drew eerie patterns on it, as if mocking her. They sprawled overhead like serpents. She felt like if she blinked, they would immediately pile on top of her and begin to strangle her. Ooh. And yet, I heard her. I definitely heard her. How can I explain this? Am I losing my mind? Did Mom find a way to contact me? Are my nerves shot? Marcus's soul hasn't left the mansion. We're doing skeptic. So let's go with the nerves. I've got too much on my plate, so my brain is playing tricks on me. What's next? Am I gonna have one of these episodes after every case like this? These questions tore her mind apart. Sleep wouldn't come. Even her tea, now cold and untouched, felt like a silent mockery. It's like trying to heal an open fracture with a bandage. An unsettling realization settled inside her. It was going to get worse. At Astrea, outside it, everywhere else, monsters from her childhood were bursting forth, battling for supremacy against real adult problems. The anticipation of something bad rose in a lump in her throat, restricting her breathing. Her heart pounded so hard that her vision darkened. The panic attack brought her to her feet, knocking the remaining oxygen out of her lungs. Damn it. Melody tried to grasp at something she could understand, something that could bring light into her world. She thought about, well, this is my Castiel save file, so we go with that. Melody wrapped her arms around herself, closed her eyes, and pictured Castiel's face in front of her. What would he do if he was here right now? Be grumpy and sarcastic. He probably said something sarcastic to me and pissed me off, but it would take my mind off the dark thoughts. He can say whatever he wants, but his actions never match his rudeness. That's true. Yeah, because this time I went after him in the garden instead of staying to talk with David, and it was actually really cute. So, Lord. Particularly different moments, you think of Castiel. Melody focused on her breathing. Inhale, exhale. When I have a panic attack, I kind of like start tapping, and I was like alternate different finger and kind of focusing on the motion or something like that. And then I'll switch to the other hand. And then I'll tap one foot, then the other, then repeat. And focusing on keeping that pattern takes me out of my panic. I don't know, I've learned that just try to like a rhythmic, something like some sort of pattern or something that I can focus on takes me out of panicking, because I had to deal with that quite a lot. The panic subsided, the tingling in her limbs passed, and the fog in front of her eyes began to clear. Because like if I try to like just focus on breathing, I feel like I can't breathe, and that makes me panic worse. So yeah, looks like it helped. She didn't want to go back to bed. It felt like all her fears lurked under the covers. I definitely shouldn't be alone right now, but it's not like I'm going to find anyone in the middle of the night. I think you'd be surprised. In an attempt to dispel the bad thoughts at least a little, Melody decided to go out into the garden to get some air. The pale light of the moon breathed life into the trees that cast eerie shadows in her bedroom. Their branches rustled and creaked as they whispered among themselves, discussing their sudden guest. They followed her with the black, sunken sockets of their hollows. It's like I'm stuck in a nightmare where the sun never rises and the night lasts forever. Silent and understanding, Astrea watched the garden from her usual spot, ready to keep her company at any hour of the day. Well, hello there. As she approached, Melody noticed a single rose resting by the pedestal. Did Cassiel bring it here? She could find no explanation for his strange treatment of a mere statue. He sits here for hours, bringing her flowers, as if... Another grim thought washed all the color out of the already gray around her, as if it's a grave. Oh! He also mentioned that he failed to save somebody, and somebody who used to work here died in that. I feel like these are important information that we need on any route, okay? And that's another reason why I feel like I need to romance everybody, because I need the full lore of everything that's going on around here. Yeah. The faint rustling of the bushes grew louder, as if someone was trying to approach stealthily. All I have to do is think of him, and there he is again, as if by magic. They're playing battle music right now, so I don't think it's Cassiel. Cassiel? The rustling sound slowly got closer. Without a voice accompanying it, it could be hiding anyone. It could be an animal. Her mind tentatively suggested that this was a garden, not a vast forest, and though there was no fence in sight, beyond that unseen border was a city, not a black abyss. Cassiel? Melody repeated his name louder, her voice more demanding. She didn't try to hide her concern. Why can't he just reply? Probably because he's not there. Melody. Her name, spoken in a voice as soft as cotton, clogged her lungs and made it impossible to breathe. It's not Cassiel. I don't know whose voice it is. Melody pressed herself against the statue and fell silent. What are you doing here, you sly fox? Oh god, who is that? Defend. Oh, did that the time clock on this one, did it always look like that? It looks different than how it usually looks in normal stories. Other stories. It was pretty. With her back to the statue, Melody assumed a fighting stance. Now what? I don't even know how to fight. A shadow passed very close, too fast for a human and too big for a beast. Melody jumped in surprise, barely holding back a scream. With its usual bad timing, her mother's advice came to her with a bright, blinding flash. I should have hidden. Trying not to lose sight of where the shadow had brushed by, Melody retreated deeper into the shrubbery. Under the moon's gaze, tried to pick up any sounds, but the garden was as silent as she. It's my frayed nerves. The branches picked at her in an unfriendly manner, trying to coax their guest out of hiding. It was like they didn't want to be dragged into a showdown between a young woman and a shadow. Tough luck. I can't stay here until morning. I have to do something. A familiar guttural growl sounded from behind her. Then a black snout appeared, barely recognizable in the darkness of the night. Is it Brenda? God, it's that wolf. Why he looks so angry? Her impulse to approach was restrained by memories of the bloody shreds of Otto's torn arm. They kept her from throwing her arms around the beast's necks. Still, a sense of relief washed over her body, relaxing the muscles that had frozen with fear. The wolf lifted his wise, calm eyes to look at her and nudged her hand gently with his cold nose. It's like he's trying to calm me down. Ah, it's Brenda. Can you walk me to the house? For some reason, Melody was in no hurry to find out. She was afraid of provoking aggression with an accidental sudden movement. As if realizing that Melody wouldn't budge, the wolf decided to act on his own. In one bound, he leaped across the path and plunged into the darkness of the tangled branches where Melody had seen someone else's shadow moments before. I hope it's not some unfortunate passerby who wandered into the garden by mistake. A passerby who knows my name and is watching me from the bushes. Scolding herself for her lack of forethought, Melody took a cautious step forward. She listened carefully. Sounds quiet. She lifted her foot, but didn't have time to put it back down in the grass before her mouth was clamped shut by a broad palm and pressed against a rock-hard body. Hush, don't be afraid. It's me, Cassio. She didn't have the energy to be outraged. The sudden rush of relief made her legs give out completely. I'm so glad you're here. Cassio's whispers sounded close to her ear. I need you to be quiet. Not if you understand. Oh, wait, there's something actually there? Oh my gosh. I kind of thought she was panicking a little bit, but I forgot we're in a supernatural story. That shadow was real. Oh no. Oh, I'll be obedient and do whatever you say. Yeah, you will. Without knowing why, Melody slowly shook her head from side to side. No? Even without seeing his face, she could clearly imagine his eyes wide with surprise. God, that's not what I wanted to do. What's wrong with me? Are you teasing him now? She tried to break free to explain herself, but Cassio wouldn't let her. A steadying arm wrapped around her waist, pressing her harder against his chest. Heavy breath brushed against her ear. Melody, are you kidding me? A misunderstanding had turned into a strained situation. The last thing Melody wanted to do was annoy someone who made her feel like a tiny insect in his arms. How do I explain to him that I'm going to be quiet now? There's someone in our garden and I need you to be quiet. Why do you do everything to spite me? Struggling indignantly, Melody tried to mumble his name. Shut up! Only further convinced of her unwillingness to cooperate, Cassio sighed tiredly, scorching her skin with his hot breath. Do you want me to drag you back into the house and lock you in the bedroom? Huh? I'm sure he didn't mean anything else by that, but... Girl, focus! Not the time! I swear, sometimes she just gets off. She has these fantastical fantasies in her head at the most craziest times. I'm just like, I need you to focus. Please. Please. But the Aqua Sun convinced her that they had both interpreted a different meaning. Oh my god. Melody relaxed her shoulders and gently patted Cassio's large hand with hers. You won't scream? This time she managed to nod her head appropriately. Thank you. Be appropriate. Meanwhile, battle music is playing in the background, and we're here sitting there having a little cheeky flirt. Freeing herself from his strong arms, Melody jumped aside. She studied his scowling face, making sure it was her colleague and not a shadow in the bushes. She absently smoothed the fabric around her waist, feeling the residual warmth beneath her icy fingers. For some reason, she kept her hands where his arm had been. You almost strangled me. Since she was forced to speak in a whisper, trying to sound menacing didn't work. Cassio's gaze fell on her hands. As if realizing he may have overdone it, Cassio furrowed his brow in guilt. I'm sorry, did I hurt you? Melody bit her lip. She regretted blurting it out in the first place. You definitely didn't hurt me. No. No, I'm fine. Melody spoke as quietly as possible, but a slightly hysterical note broke through the whisper. I saw a shadow behind the archway. Got it. Your wolf is already there. Oh, that surprised him. The wolf that saved me from Ada. That's your wolf. He's come to protect you. The strange thought seemed both obvious and unbelievable. My wolf? Come on, I'll walk you home. It was foolish to resist. Trying to keep up without being too loud, Melody asked, I really wasn't imagining it, was I? No. In the hallway, Cassio stopped. You're not going upstairs? No, I'm going back to the garden. Noticing the doubt in her face, he added, You're safe in the house. Go to your room. You know, this is how people usually die, right? When they split up in the middle of the night and go to different places. Are you serious? Of course I am. I'm not letting you go alone. Not understanding how anyone could refuse, Cassio actually froze in place. Did I bring you here so I could listen to this? If we go back together. You almost fainted in there, and now you're rushing back? Why? Why indeed? Melody crossed her arms over her chest and looked at Cassio in total seriousness. I'll call the police if we need help. Cassio moved menacingly toward Melody, trying to catch her. Melody dodged him, squealing indignantly. What are you doing? I don't have time for this. I'm going to take you somewhere and lock you up. You cannot just lock people up. But she is being crazy right now. Her fear was washed away by a wave. But to be fair, in the movies, when they split up, it's always the wrong choice. Her fear was washed away by a wave of indignation. I'm trying to help him. You can't. You can't. I'm sorry. You don't have any capacity to help him, though. I'm so sorry, honey. Not in this case. Raphael came out of the living room. The sound of shouting. He stared at Cassio in surprise. What are you doing? Please take her away. What do you mean? I need to check the garden. Stay with her. Without waiting for an answer, Cassio hurried back, leaving Melody alone with the confused Raphael. Don't worry, Melody. Cassio's hardly in any danger in our garden. I saw a strange shadow there, and he sensed something too. How come he doesn't understand? Maybe it's the one Mom was talking about. It was clearly not human. What if it's a report? Okay, this is skeptic. I don't think she would believe that it wasn't a human. Nor would it be the one that her ghostly mom was talking about. So she'll probably want to go with reporter. Tomorrow the news will say I've gone completely insane. That I drove that patient crazy and then went on to catch demons. Come with me, Melody. Melody obediently followed him into the living room and sank onto the couch. Let me allay your fears. Cassio's a true warrior. We should not stop him from doing his job. Raphael towered over her, blocking her view of the gloomy garden like a wall. Melody soaked up his calm voice like a sponge and was filled with strange peace. Now her own behavior seemed ridiculous, and her attempt to stop Cassio seemed overly panicked and unnecessary. It was, however, can Raphael, slightly manipulate emotions? I'm telling you, I'm gonna keep note of all this stuff. Mikhail's healing, Cassio's animal stuff, Raphael's emotions, emotional manipulation. David is probably super persuasive. Has persuasion powers or something. I don't know. If they're so calm, then it can't be as bad as I think it is. But then again, they've all kind of displayed stuff where they're being persuasive. Except Cassio. He's a little bit too angry for that. It's late. You better get some sleep. But I promised to wait for Cassio. The prospect of dragging herself to her bedroom and looking out the window, thinking of 1,000 ways Cassio could die, didn't seem appealing to her. Honestly, I don't feel like sleeping at all. And I don't want to be alone with myself either. Then let's just distract ourselves with music. That always helps me. Or you can lie in this room. I'll be right here. Is it romantic? I don't know. Probably a little bit, but we'll go different now. Aren't we disturbing anyone? It's pretty late. There's no one else home, just us. Mikkel went to see his appears in the middle of the night? What a workaholic. Where's David? The question just slipped out on its own. David? I have no idea. Is it normal for him to be out so late? A look of genuine surprise blossomed in Raphael's eyes. He asked the question silently, more to himself than to her. Why does her innocent curiosity gnaw at my insides, leaving only an unfamiliar feeling of emptiness? Huh? Okay. Alright. Kind of feel you're getting to the point where we should stop flirting around. I'm starting to feel bad. Are you worried about him? A little bit. Don't be. It's David. He's probably celebrating another victory. At this, a mix of unpleasant emotions settled in her chest. Melody rejected jealously, considering it a feeling unworthy of her attention. Instead, she focused on her anxiety. I hope he really is okay. Come, I'll show you how to play the piano. Melody suddenly felt like a little girl tricked by her parents into going to music school. Her nervousness began to grow. You're not gonna hit my hands, are you? Excuse me? The bewildered expression on his face brought a smile to hers. They usually hit a child's hands when they get something wrong. Really? That doesn't sound very usual. The looming heavy silence made her heart clench. Raphael's gentle face was marked by a pity that she didn't want to see. Why did I say that? I guess maybe that happened to her growing up. To be fair, it happened to me growing up too, so this is... like when practicing writing, like, no, pop. Oh, gosh. Practicing piano, no, pop. Ouch. Oh, is that bad? I thought that was normal. Okay, well, apparently not. Raphael forced a smile and suddenly spoke with an uncharacteristic casualness. I promise I won't raise my voice at you, even if you try to be the worst student ever. Melody continued gratefully, just as deliberately cheerful. I don't think you even know how to yell or get angry. Then you have nothing to fear. Melody stopped near the I was thinking that I was wondering what he would be like if he got, like, if he yelled or got angry, but then I found myself thinking, I would never want to find out. Even though I feel like we are going to in this story, I feel like it would almost be a shame for him to be angry and yelling. I don't know. I just want him to be happy. He's so sad. I just want him to be happy. Melody stopped near, like, I just kind of feel like a little protective of it. Melody stopped near the piano bench and hesitated. When you say you'll show me, what do you mean? Just sit down, Melody, and try not to be nervous. Melody lowered her fingers to the cold keys, silently stroking each smooth, pleasant surface. Is it very difficult? Her newly appointed teacher stood behind her. Melody couldn't see him, but she could feel him. Starting is always the hardest part. She didn't want to disturb the peace of the instrument. It's like trying to speak in a language I don't know. Suddenly, she felt Raphael's cool hands. His slender fingers covered hers gently. They guided her to the right keys and pressed slightly. The first sound was quiet and tender, like Raphael's voice. Melody relaxed, allowing him to touch her, to guide her. Can you feel the music flowing and changing? Raphael's hair swayed and tickled her cheekbone as he leaned closer. He smelled fresh and light and some kind of flower. Melody closed her eyes. She tilted her head back just a little and inhaled deeply. Yes? His arms encircled her on both sides. He didn't touch her, but Melody felt his embrace so clearly. The sounds mingled with the scents, flaring like sparks throughout the room, fading and reigniting. It was as if Melody was igniting with them, filling the space with her emotions, enveloping Raphael in warmth. I can't breathe. From measure to measure, we move forward. This is how something beautiful is born. Oh! Trying to enjoy the moment here, okay? Goodness gracious. This one's cute. Can I save it? This one's really pretty. I love that. And Melody was filled with it. A tenderness grew inside her, along with the desire to melt into these sounds with Raphael, to become one with him, with the music, with the scents, and to stay here forever, in serene peace and beauty. Her hand stopped on the keys and the sounds faded away. Opening her eyes wide, Melody turned her head and met Raphael's gaze. They both froze for a moment, their breaths mingling. Raphael was the first to pull away. You have talent, Melody. Why are you flattering me? No, honestly. A few more lessons and we would be playing four-handed. Melody put as much meaning into the words as possible when she said, Thank you, Raphael. And now, I think you should at least try to get some sleep. Raphael cracked open the window and the pleasant coolness of night rushed into the room. Melody felt like breathing it in while wrapped in a blanket with only her nose sticking out. All the reasons to refuse sleep were taken away by the light breeze. Noting her sleepy gaze, Raphael nudged her toward the right decision. By the way, this sofa isn't as uncomfortable as it seems. Alright, you convinced me. But I'm just gonna lie down until Cassio returns. Melody settled in comfortably and listened to the silence of the house. You can't even hear the noise of the city. It's like a kind of magic. Her thoughts quieted under the weight of the blanket that covered her. After tucking her in, Raphael stepped back to the window. He gazed thoughtfully into the pre-dawn darkness. Raphael? Sleep, Melody, and think of nothing. What about you? I'll be here, watching over you while you sleep. Melody turned away from him and caught sight of the sky. Good thing the night is coming to an end. The black canvas was slashed with ragged stripes of belated sunlight. Dawn was a welcome sight, unusually red. Melody woke up in her own bedroom. Her first instinct was to separate the events of the previous day into dreams and reality. She was equally concerned about how she had ended up here. Did Raphael carry me here, or Cassio? The labyrinth of her memory was frustratingly empty. I need to finally get changed, but I should take a shower first. That's cute. Ooh. Well, that's a lovely little coat. I love that. Okay, don't spend 10 years. I love that too. What the heck? Okay. Guys. Alright, okay. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna get this one. Then we're gonna double back. Snag this one, double back, and then wear this. Okay. Hat. I don't know that I'm completely sold on any of them. There's like parts of all of them that I like, but then certain parts of it I don't for some reason. I feel like okay, you know what? Let's just I guess. Yeah, we go with that and then we change it. Okay. I feel like I didn't get a chance to wear this one, so. Melody stretched. She decided to check if Cassio had returned from his night patrol. Of course, it's unlikely that they would have let me sleep until noon if something had happened, but still. Melody didn't make it to the hallway. Her phone, left on the nightstand, rang angrily for a moment. It filled the room with the suffocating worries of yesterday. It's just a phone, Melody. Keep your wits about you. But with each step, her heart pounded harder and harder. Melody looked at the screen and was surprised to see the number was unidentified. Oop. That's new. Now, real life, don't pick up the phone, but... Her heart filled with anxiety, swelling and pressing against her ribs from the inside. I won't let fear control me. Fighting back a shudder, Melody answered the call. Yes? A pleasant male voice crept into her head. Hello, Melody. Hello? This is Professor Sinner. Professor Sinner? Get out of here! You know you're evil! Oh no! Did we just meet the bad guy? The surname spun around in her memory, conjuring up faces of people from the past, but she couldn't find a specific person. Is he tied to her past? Stop. Stop. Rather than look foolish, Melody decided to come clean right away. Sorry, but I don't remember you. Velvety laughter flowed from the receiver like a murmuring stream. I'm not surprised. You didn't attend any of my lectures. I taught forensic psychiatry. The image of a handsome young man, unsuccessfully pursued by half of the university, immediately appeared in her mind. Oh. For some reason, I was more intimidated by him than attracted to him. How can I help you, Professor? And if I didn't take any of your lectures, how do you know who I am? I hardly need help, Melody, but I hear you do. The thing is, I've been asked to conduct a psychiatric evaluation of your unfortunate patient. Finding the urge to hang up, Melody squeezed out. I don't think I can discuss him with you. You can't. But I want to talk about you. About me? The picture in her head wasn't adding up. She felt like someone was lying to her. I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about myself. If you have something to say it directly. Why are you doing this and how much will it cost me? A quiet chuckle eased her excess caution, and the voice became firmer and rougher. So you like to have everything told to you straight? Well, so do I. My gesture of goodwill is not to you, but to your friend Ruth. Ruth? The rest is up to you. I don't know how Ruth found him, but he's taking a big risk just by talking to me on the phone. Is he? Tears welled up in her eyes as she realized that her friend was not only praying tirelessly for her, but also seeking a solution to her problem. Yeah, because you're certainly not. Oh, Ruth. In spite of everything that has piled up against you, you still answer calls from unknown numbers. That says a lot about you. I'm sure you've been harassed by reporters. I'll be waiting for you in my office in an hour. I'll text you the address. And don't worry, Melody. Just come. It was hard to believe the problem could solve itself like this. As she looked at the address, Melody felt like she was also looking deep inside herself. She refused to allow herself to celebrate prematurely or even to think that Professor Sinner could help. I'm full of mixed feelings. People don't just help for free. Some kind of task is my silver lining. People don't just help for free. Especially when the matter is so serious. I don't think he would risk his reputation just like that for former students. I had to be on my guard. She just didn't have the energy to guess anymore. I'll find out if everything's okay with Castiel, and then I'll go straight to the professor. Alright, buddy. Castiel wasn't in his bedroom. After wandering around the house for a bit, Melody found him in the kitchen. She couldn't contain her joy. You're safe. What a relief. Just in case, she scanned him with her eyes to make sure he was indeed uninjured and all his limbs were intact. I didn't find anyone in the garden. The short sentence sounded like a reproach, but Castiel quickly corrected himself. I don't know who was there, but they left no trace. I see. Are you going somewhere? Just for a couple of hours. I'll be back soon. Do we have a case? Not exactly. Felonia will come by in the evening and tell you everything about it. Try not to be late. And give me the address you're going to. What for? Just in case. Alright, let's assume there's really nothing strange about that, especially after yesterday. Castiel didn't join her for breakfast. Melody had a quick bite, then rushed to call a taxi and right the wrongs of the past. Oh, and Davis for once not in the kitchen cooking. Or providing outfits. Oh, here he is. As she left the kitchen, she nearly crashed into Davis and made his way to the second floor. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. But I saw you right away. Where are you rushing off to, looking so beautiful? To meet an old acquaintance. Is the meeting far away? Not really. Let me give you a ride. Weren't you just on your way to your bedroom? I was, but not anymore. Why? The last thing I want to do when I see you is sleep, little witch. I'm very curious. What is it you want, then? I can tell you on the way. Lord. The offer was very tempting, but she didn't want to burden the tired man. You get some rest, David. I'll see you in the evening. Who am I to resist your charms and go against your wishes? He gently touched her hand and brought it to his lips, and left a light, airy kiss on it. I'll be looking forward to the evening. After calling a taxi, Melody stood still for a moment. If the professor really helps me, will I go back to Goodland? And leave Astrea? Even if he helps you, I would not go back to the place that threw you under the freaking bus and didn't believe you. Absolutely not. I gotta understand it probably was a fancy place to work at. I don't know. But I don't know. I will be looking for a different place of employment because there's no freaking way. Since she had only been here for a week, it was strange that she was even asking herself this question. All I wanted was to get my steady life back. As she stepped out of the house, Melody caught herself thinking of something strange. It's as if threads from the heart of this house are pulling me back. The reception area was tastefully and expensively furnished. It was not like a typical hospital. It was hard to understand exactly what Professor Sinner did. Melody found no brochures about his work. Trying not to look foolish or glance around too much, she immediately approached a pretty woman at the reception desk. Good afternoon. I'm here to see Professor Sinner. My name is... Yes, I know who you are. Rude much. Please wait a moment. I'll let him know you've arrived. Melody sat down in a chair and tried to play out possible dialogues in her head. There weren't many. I have no idea what he wants to talk about and how it will help me. Looking up, she noticed that the woman was staring at her intently. If you don't mind my saying, I'm waiting for that bastard to be locked up as well. Okay. What would she say if you were on low reputation? She probably would say something really rude. She probably would believe the other side. And for your license to be reinstated. Thank you. Rest assured, Professor Center will help you. He can do anything. Alright. The woman exuded a kind of fanatical admiration that made Melody uncomfortable. Yeah, just hearing that line made me uncomfortable. Fortunately, the office door swung open, saving her from the tense conversation. Oh my... Okay. I can see we're going to be opening up another save file. Lord. How did I already know? I told you that somebody was going to come out after you already get in a routine with the other ones, and then a new interest will come into it. I don't know if he's a love interest. He might. He probably is. Come on. Depending on how often he's going to be in the story. But for the way he said that he knew her from the past, like they... Sitting at the door was a man who had not changed at all over the years. Saying this is a supernatural story? That's kind of sus. What do you mean you don't age? The same facial features, not perfectly symmetrical, but attractive in their imperfection. People like him are either disliked or drive people crazy. Very few people are just indifferent to him. She wanted to believe that she was one of those who stood firmly in the middle. But now I think... Why did I think otherwise before? Probably because you could tell he was probably evil. Dude's evil. Dude is evil. Come in, Melody. Sit wherever you like. This guy is definitely the bad guy. He's probably the one that they're hunting or whatever. Oh my gosh. The spacious office did not make the professor's line of work any clearer. It was hard to tell if he conducted consultations or therapy sessions here. I wonder if he still teaches. Melody chose a chair. For some reason, the professor stood in front of her. Does he want to sit down? The proximity made her uncomfortable. Should I just ask him to step back or should I stand up myself? Why is he just standing there? Did I take your chair? As if shaking off a trance, the professor shook his head. No, don't get up. Okay, I won't. I was assuming your chair was behind the desk over there. Unless I was sitting over there, like, I don't know why you're staying so close. I need you to get back. I want to ask you a question. Looking up at him was awkward. Melody felt silly and vulnerable. Is he, like, standing like that, like, intentionally? Is he trying to make me uncomfortable? Is he trying to make me look up at him? He might be a bit of a narcissist. I don't trust him at all. But will I romance him? Probably, if he's available. Lord. We're messed up. We're messed up. Melody felt silly and vulnerable. Of course, I'm all ears. How did you end up at Astrea? The question was unexpected, but after a few seconds, Melody found an explanation for his query. Was he trying to figure if I'm mentally unstable? It happened by chance. A newspaper clipping with the job listing was placed at my desk at Goodland while I was packing my things. His voice seemed to be filled with cool skepticism. And who put it there? I suspect it was a parting joke from one of my colleagues. They probably found it amusing. And you went along with the joke so easily? It was hard to explain her behavior. By day, I felt like my life was over. Years of study, practice, and hard work went down the drain. I think I was angry at myself, at my colleagues, at the whole world. I called immediately to show them that they couldn't break me with a piece of paper. But you went even further. What is he trying to accomplish? Of course, this all seems strange to you, Professor Center, but I am of sound mind and fully aware of what I'm doing. Whatever they do at Astrea, no one is forcing me to worship the devil or catch ghosts in a jar. I'm just giving them some external counsel, and I'm fine with that. And most importantly, I feel like I matter there. The poignant sentence made the professor smile. An interesting conclusion. Do your colleagues think the same? Melanie knew how silly this would sound, as she had only worked at Astrea for less than a week. Still, she spoke from the heart. Absolutely. Maybe not all of my new colleagues agree, but the agency director gave me a very warm welcome. And I believe that he will fight for me if necessary, and not throw me out like Goodlum did. As if convinced of something, the professor finally took a step back. He walked thoughtfully to his desk, sat down, and rested his chin on his interlocked fingers. You can call me Malik. Oh, Lord. He's dangerous. Man is dangerous. I don't know what to say. Melody nodded hesitantly and allowed herself to relax a little. Don't relax! Sitting next to him, I feel like a young student again, taking an exam I'm not prepared for. I know I promised I'd only talk about you, but unfortunately there's less time than I thought, so our options are limited. One way or another, you need to tell me what happened that day. It would be strange if he didn't bring it up. After all, it's the only way he can help me. Besides, he's the one who's setting himself up by talking to me, not the other way around. Why do you think that the cause of the attack was his illness? Melody saw no other option. I smashed his head with a paperweight, but he didn't even care about his own blood. He almost killed me, but at some point he suddenly stood up. He cried, threw a tantrum, and talked to someone, refusing to follow mysterious orders. And then he threw himself out the window. Whoa! So he lapsed into a coma and deprived you of the chance to justify yourself. Maybe you can find an explanation for his behavior, but I can't. And you never suspected that he might be ill? He was admitted after a failed suicide attempt following the death of his wife. I had time to evaluate him for antisocial personality disorder, among other things. All his tests came back negative. Yes, he was depressed, but he was getting better. He was treated with a course of antidepressants and had no side effects. If you had asked me at the beginning of this session if he would attempt suicide again, I would have firmly said no. But he did attempt it again, and even tried to take you with him. Melanie knew that Malik was getting at. She responded to the same way that she had to Goodlum management. Yes, I thought he was getting better, but I was wrong. I don't know what happened to him, but the person who came to that last session was completely different. Malik looked at her without pause, but his gaze was strangely detached. It was as if he wasn't really interested in the conversation. Indeed, everything he described sounds like an acute psychotic episode. But when you're subpoenaed, it'll be best if you don't talk about it. His insanity plea will save him from prison, but it will bury you. And if anyone raises the issue of attempted incitement to suicide, you may not leave the courtroom. Am I supposed to lie that he's healthy? Mentally. Physically, hardly anyone could call him healthy right now. Am I really considering this? It's necessary, horrible, controversial. Oh boy. Is there going to be a court case scene? There has to be, right? Because this has to come to a head. Oh my gosh. Controversial? Uh-oh. I don't deserve to go to jail, and neither does he. That's the first time that's happened, right? As far as I know. Maybe not, but he belongs to an institution, and I need to rethink my life. I can hardly bring myself to continue seeing patients after what happened. At least don't say you think you can't be held accountable for his actions. Unfortunately, I cannot help you unless you want me to. Besides, what makes you think it's just an illness and not some normal aggression directed at you? I beg your pardon? For example, let's say I find out this nice guy keeps your photos under his pillow. Would that make you feel better? If you learn that he fantasized about strangling you every day, can you give us a little lie then? Melanie felt terribly dirty and couldn't shake the feeling that everything Malik was saying might be true. Did you ask him about his sexual preferences? Or did you decide to do that kind of nonsense? I had no reason to ask if he had any paraphilias or fetishes. Paraphilias are atypical, intense, and persistent sexual interest. And during your last session, when he showed his true face, what did he say? Melody remembered every word her patient had said. He believed I came to his dreams every night, and he gave us both pleasure by hurting me. Seeing that Malik knew everything and more, and this whole conversation was just a strange whim of his, how would he know if he's not responsible? Was the person that the guy was talking to, was it him? All this chatter could have been reduced to one question. Was she willing to lie for freedom? I'm not rushing you, Melody. Think carefully. There's still time. But don't think of him as a victim just because he didn't do enough to get society on your side. Because that side would only be the edge of your grave. The professor unclasped his fingers and leaned back in his chair. The conversation was obviously over. The decision now rests with me. Thank you for your time. I promise this conversation will remain between us. Of course. I'll call you in a few days. Melody tried to get up, but heavy thoughts seemed to press her into the chair. I screwed up, but now I'm trying to get away with it. It's so vile. Miles looked out the window as if he had immediately forgotten that someone was in his office after saying goodbye. Seems like I can just leave quietly. Trying to get his attention, Melody cleared her throat quietly. Malik responded to her attempt with a faint smile. Dude was like a mafia boss. Do you have any other questions for me? What questions could I have for him? Melody couldn't shake the feeling that Malik saw right through her. It's unfair that I know nothing about my savior. Before I entrust you with my fate, I'd like to get to know you as much as possible. Malik arched an eyebrow dryly and spoke almost in a whisper. If you're looking to be more closely acquainted, I'm afraid the door isn't locked. Did it really come out like that? I'm joking, you know. Don't be so serious. Smiling, Malik ran his gaze over her flushed face. He enjoyed flustering me on purpose. Ask a question, Melody. If my biography can put you at ease, I'd be happy to share it with you. That depends on what kind of biography you have. The professor clearly wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, but he's somehow never involved in any scandals. Which is odd, considering what he's offering me. What is your work related to these days? Are you curious about what I do for a living? His question sounded so unexpectedly casual that Melody would have blushed again if she could have covered herself with another layer of embarrassment. No, I was trying to figure out what kind of counseling you do now, but I couldn't find any brochures. You wound me. My services don't need advertising, Melody. Clients find me on their own. For a moment, she felt like she had said something stupid. Mine looked at her the way parents look at misbehaving children, condescendingly. Ew. Ew. I'm getting the ick. I'm getting the ick. Okay. Maybe he doesn't get a safe out. I don't. When I'm bored, I can offer help to those in need myself. I find such clients in prisons, courts, hospitals. Defendants are probably my favorite. Can you guess why? You like desperate people? The conversation was drifting off course, but Melody had never really been in control of its flow. Because their guilt has not been proven? Because there's still so much hope in them. Have you ever attended a felony trial? His real interest was clearly in that sad place, and a playful gleam suddenly appeared in Malik's otherwise bored eyes. Fortunately, no. Fortunately? If you're empathetic, you'd definitely be impressed by what happens there. So what happens there? Catharsis. In modern psychology, catharsis is understood as the process of releasing mental energy, emotional discharge, and other sources of internal conflict. The audience craves punishment, and the defendant seeks redemption. And there's chaos all around the people and rogues try to contain. Isn't it like a play? No, bitch, that's someone's life. I prefer a movie theater. The only difference is that in the courtroom, the emotions of the actors are genuine, because they're not acting. Once again, someone's life is on the line, and you're just coming in to play around because you're freaking bored. Psychotic. If I wasn't convinced before, I am now. But he is the evil that the other group is chasing. Absolutely. Dude's absolutely evil. He knows about my past a lot. So my parents, were they involved in some sort of cult? Is he the leader of the cult? I love how I'm just propping every single crime on top of this guy. I don't know, but he's giving me really bad vibes. And someone who's so ancient and old, like he just doesn't have anything else to do, and that's the only place where he can feel something. And I don't know. It's kind of scary, and the punishment is real. Malik immediately expresses disagreement with a grimace. Isn't a measly term imprisoned in exchange for someone's life a farce? For some reason, his words had a chilling effect. The atmosphere in the room became oppressive, as if the sorrow concentrating in the courtrooms had crept into the office from the professor's memories. Shivering, Melody tried to find an answer to his question, but her tongue felt glued to the roof of her mouth. I don't share his views, but did I come here to argue with him? The gleam in the professor's eyes extinguished as quickly as it ignited. Why am I bothering you anyway? You just want to know what I do, and I drag you into a subject that is obviously not the most pleasant. Mike leaned back in his chair, and a bored expression returned to his face. Officially, I conduct forensic psychiatric examinations in cases involving particularly dangerous criminals. But as you've already realized, my doors are open to all who seek redemption. Quite a career change, more drastic than mine. I'm scared to imagine where my questions might lead me. Melody knew better than anyone that life could turn upside down at any moment, and if she couldn't foresee what her actions would lead to such an outcome, Malik should. But I can't just ask him directly if he's aware of his actions. Melody tried to read the answer to a question in his face. What motivates him? Recklessness, adventure, self-sacrifice? Malik did not resemble a young man with a fiery heart, but rather an old cynic. He was too smart for foolish heroics. So why are you taking the risk? Her wondering gaze lingered on his eyes. Their mysterious depth was alluring, evoking a thirst for knowledge. There's definitely some mystery lurking in them. Malik met her gaze calmly, as if he had been subjected to such scrutiny many times before. Malik met her gaze calmly, as if he had been subjected to such scrutiny many times before. I doubt I can unsettle him, no matter how hard I try. I find it odd that you're not concerned about the moral aspect of this proposal. Did I go too far? That sounded like a reproach. In an attempt to justify herself, Melody hastily added, I'm not trying to embarrass you, no. I just want to understand. And the only embarrassed creature in the room was Melody herself. Malik merely listened thoughtfully and wearily to her attempts to express her thoughts gently and tactfully. Your main mistake was not throwing the patient out of the window in self-defense. Instead, you let him throw himself out. You turned self-defense into God knows what. Although I admit, your attempt to protect yourself is commendable. Is he serious? If I were you, I would go down swinging. But since we can't go back in time, fight now. Sink your teeth down to the bone of the outstretched hand and don't let go until you get what you want. Malik says this was to feel self-evident. Sorry. But instead of motivating her, the vivid metaphor sent a wave of nausea through her, bringing back memories of recent events. I'm still willing to help, Melody. Sharpen your teeth and come back. I'm afraid I'll have to reshape my personality for that. I see nothing wrong with becoming tougher, more stubborn, and stronger. The simplicity with which he spoke irritated her, as if being soft is a flaw. Am I supposed to become ruthless and cruel? Malik rolled his eyes as if Melody had finally disappointed him. He exclaimed, "Cruelty! What a trivial label. People are willing to put it on anything that doesn't fit into their typical worldview." For a moment, Melody thought a growl came out of him along with a word. No. Cruelty is life. Do we blame the wolf for the cruelty of eating a sheep? Or a woman for shooting a rapist? No one cornered me, and there will be no excuse for my cruelty. You've been backed into a corner for a long time, and to deny it would be very foolish. Malik's gaze became predatory in his fascination. I see potential in you, but something is holding me back. That's something we can work on. What do you mean? There was no clarifying question. Malik ended the conversation with a single sentence. The decision is undoubtedly yours. And whatever you want to be, predator or prey in this world, is also up to you. Just full of extremes. Oh, Lord. Melody was unsure how to approach the question, so she decided to start from a distance. Why did you grant Ruth's request? Malik's answer took her even further away from the main point. Are you worried about the price you'll have to pay? Yes. I'd like to repay my debts myself. Malik smiled and shrugged. Unfortunately, I don't need anything from you. Unfortunately? Her pride was wounded and she felt indignation rising, but she quickly fell silent in shame instead. Surely he wouldn't compromise himself for my charming smile. But don't worry, Ruth and I are old friends. I won't ask more from her than she can give. Why is this the first time I'm hearing about their friendship? I'm lucky she happens to have friends like that. Didn't she tell you? No. The innocent question made her feel uncomfortable. It's like I don't care about my friend and don't know anything about her. Although Melody tried to hide her irritation, she still replied through gritted teeth. I don't recall. Perhaps as a student, she wisely kept her affair with the professor a secret. And then who knows, maybe it became a habit? Even though we both left the walls of your old institution, we took that exciting secret with us. She's sleeping with him too? I don't even know what else to ask after such a revelation. No, literally, I don't know what else to ask. Okay. Wonderful. Melody rose from her chair and Malik stood up with her. He led her to the door and reached for the handle. No, I still need to know the price of the service. Call out or block his way. Oh, we should not get close to this man. Oh no. Oh, but. He seems to like pushy people. Maybe. Melody sped up and deftly squeezed herself between the door and the professor. She almost bumped into his chest, but Malik reacted instantly by stepping back. Wait a minute, please. I can't leave your house knowing that someone else is paying for me. Even if you're friends, I don't want Ruth to owe you anything because of me. Think about what you want, and only then will we talk again. Fine, if you insist. With a sigh of relief, Melody prepared to leave, but Malik made her a sudden offer that stopped her in her tracks. I know that you and Ruth were part of the same religious cult as children. To be honest, such an experience interests me. Ruth rarely tells me anything about her past, and all her stories seem to have, how should I put it, important details omitted. I'm willing to help if you share your story. The honest, unedited story. His cold, impassive voice made the blood rush to her ears, drowning all subsequent words with a pounding pulse. Melody automatically took the business card he offered her and nodded. Just a friendly conversation, nothing more. If you really care about Ruth. Thank you. She barely rushed to the reception area, the receptionist calling something after her as she left. Melody went home with heavy mixed feelings on her shoulders. As she stepped into the hallway, Melody realized from the unusual noise that all of her colleagues had gathered in the living room. Feeling like a student for the second time that day, but now late for class, Melody quickened her pace. She flung open the door. She burned with shame when she realized that everyone was there, even Felonia. Damn, I should probably apologize. For what? They knew you were going to be out? I mean, they tell you not to be late, I suppose, because they will be here in the evening, I guess. I guess we took up extra time by asking all those extra questions instead of coming directly back. To be fair. But anyway. Sorry for being late. We're just getting started, Melody. Come on in. But there were too many interested eyes on her. Feels like it's getting hot inside Astrea's walls. Melody paused for a moment, deciding where to sit. The men were sitting on the couch, and Felonia was standing next to Mikhail as usual. Where should I sit? This is Cassio, Seifa. As soon as Melody settled down on the leather couch, Cassio clicked his tongue quietly. And who did I tell about Felonia coming tonight? How long her colleagues had actually been waiting for her was anyone's guess. Now that we're all here, let's get started. A persistent sense of deja vu set in. I'm back to that day when Mikhail decided to put me on the agency's main case. As if to confirm her thoughts, Felonia voiced the gist of the meeting. As you probably guessed, it's been another murder. The victim is a young woman. She was branded on her chest. Cassio couldn't resist a sarcastic remark. Did the killer get away, or did he stab himself in the throat? Oh, goodness, hold on. Oh, I feel like I've been recording forever. This time we managed to catch him. Let me finish this up. Surprise and unexpected joy appeared on even Cassio's perpetually disgruntled face. This changes everything. Despite everyone's impatience, Mikhail continued to speak. His usual slow and calm manner. Who is he? It's unclear at the moment. He didn't have any idea on him, and he refused to talk to my guys. Maybe for the best. Let him tell everything only to you. Felonia nodded briefly and continued. The victim was unemployed. She wasn't into anything dangerous or excessive. She was just a daughter of a wealthy parents. I found out the details, but that's all for now. Was the killer caught this morning? At noon. He spent the night at Magic Station. In the morning, he'll go to court, then to a maximum security prison. And it'll be much harder to talk to him. We need to hurry. Take whatever you think you need, Felonia, and go. Melody saw the look directed at her. Melody, I could use you. Trying to hide her surprise, Melody stood up quickly. I think Cassio has a better chance of getting someone to talk. Yes, of course. The guys who brought him in said the suspect was acting really weird, like he was possessed, but I don't think he's possessed. God, I can tell you right now he's not possessed. Uh-huh, we'll figure it out. Would you like some company? There's no need. We don't want to unsettle the police. It's enough that one civilian will be with Felonia. It's unlikely that anyone will ask questions. Still, we don't need unnecessary attention. The woman promised not to be long and then said their goodbyes and headed to the police. Oh. Okay. Their goodbyes and headed to the police car parked near Astrea. Despite the late hour, there was a hustle and bustle of life. In the parking lot was a van used to transport prisoners. Sleepy paramedics smoked next to an ambulance. Apparently, they were sent in case the subject tried to commit suicide. Officers in full gear talked in the station with the police dog sitting next to them. Getting ready to leave in the morning? Felonia approached the duty officer, but her question was drowned out by a monotonous hum. Without asking any questions, the man gave her the room number and stared at the monitor. He didn't even look at the guest's face. Now that's trusting your superiors. He's waiting in the interrogation room. Let's go. Or she has the little mystical powers too. There was nothing in the observation room but a few chairs and a table with some kind of equipment. The women were separated from the interrogation room by a large one-way mirror. The detainee was on the other side. He can't see you, but he'll hear you. Felonia adjusted some knobs on the equipment and stood next to her colleague. The glass is unbreakable and he's chained to the table. He can't get free. Felonia, I'm calm. You're right here. And so is your gun, so I have nothing to fear. Yeah, alright. I'm gonna go in there and ask him a few questions. You'll watch his reaction. Got it. The sound works both ways, so try to keep quiet if you can. When I'm done, you can ask your questions. If we need to run tests, it's better to do them face to face. Just try to figure out what his diagnosis could be, if any. It's almost impossible to determine anything this way, but I'll try. Melody moved a little closer to the mirror and scrutinized the man's face. He gazed melancholically into the distance and didn't look violent. Even if he was faking it, why isn't he faking it now? The stranger's profile seemed painfully familiar. It's the guy from the club! Didn't I tell you that I told you that he was out here killing people. I said that! Dude was tweaking. Oh my goodness. Whoever seen you, what do you mean? How could you forget? Well, to be fair, a lot has happened to her. She was just held at gunpoint. She had her mom talking to her. So, I understand how she might have forgotten. Because she probably put that guy out of her mind almost immediately. That's because she was too busy dancing with David. But I definitely remember him. Melody mentally, straightening her memory, Melody mentally sorted through the places where she might have encountered the man. Someone's patient? Did we go to school together? I don't think so. Where else could I have seen him? Is this if I meet people anywhere outside of those places? An idea sparked in her mind. Thanks to Astrea, she had recently been introduced to more places to meet people. Fell. I saw him at the club when Emma's sister was killed. Are you sure? Yes. He hit on me and tried to buy me a drink and stuff. The joy of being useful was pushed aside by the fear that welled up in her throat. Did he want to drag me into that room? That's great news, Melody. Because of that idiot Charlotte and her messed up cameras, we have no footage. Witnesses are just what we need right now. Glad I could help. Felonia turned the knob and touched a finger to her lips. As if something, the man raised his head and stared at the woman. He can't see us. What is he looking at? I won't tell you anything, you bunch of corpses. You don't need to know the truth. Better start digging your own graves. Because the beast is already here and you won't escape. Forgetting about being cautious, Melody whispered, has he mentioned the beast before? I don't know. Pushing his chains to the limits, the man moved his head and sniffed. Melody? How has such a curious rat not fallen into a trap and broken her back yet? Did you introduce yourself to him at the club? No. Suddenly the sound of metal screeched in their ears. The man yanked his hands, ripping off the ring attached to his handcuffs, and then lunged at the glass. He can't go anywhere, right? What? How did he? Felonia ran to the door. The man slammed his head into the mirror with all his might like a fly desperate for freedom. Each word was accompanied by a dull, monotonous thud. Please. Oh my gosh. He's already here. Here, Melody, can you feel it? Didn't Mommy tell you to hide? Malik! Do you know she's being boiled in a cauldron by devils? I have them rip that tongue out if she can't keep her mouth shut. Unable to utter a word, Melody watched in a daze as Felonia pinned the man to the floor. It was a crunch of a broken bone, but somehow the laughter didn't stop. It felt like his voice had burrowed into her head, clinging to her like a tick with a death grip. It injected venom. And even when the source of the noise was taken away, the laughter continued to echo in her mind. What the flip? Dude. Alright. Alright, sure. Sure. This episode was a fever dream. I feel like I was all over the place. All over the place. First I was like, comedy, then craziness. That was a lot. This episode was a lot. This episode was a lot to unpack. I don't know. Guys, I'm concerned. I have concerns. I am concerned. Yeah, but anyway, I guess we'll just leave it right here. I got places to be. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and show a like button, some love, subscribe to see more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye.